Hello and welcome to another post for Between the Cracks. This week I've chosen to showcase A Weekend with Mr. Darcy by Victoria Connolly from the Austen Addicts. It's been on my Kindle for a long time, although not as long as 2010. It says a romance-filled page-turner for any Austen fanatic who's ever dreamt of spending a weekend with Mr. Darcy. Now, who hasn't? So I'm going to read you an excerpt from chapter 1. Dr. Catherine Roberts couldn't help thinking that a university lecturer in possession of a pile of paperwork must be in want of a holiday. She leant back in her chair and surveyed her desk. It wasn't a pretty sight. Outside, the October sunshine was golden and glorious, and she was shut up in her book-lined tomb of an office. Removing her glasses and pinching the bridge of her nose, she looked at the leaflet that was lying beside a half-eaten salad sandwich which had wilted hours before. The heading was in a beautiful bold script that looked like old-fashioned handwriting. Purley Hall, Church Stinton, Hampshire, it read. Set in 35 acres of glorious parkland, this early 18th century house is the perfect place in which to enjoy your Jane Austen weekend. Join a host of special guest speakers and find out more about England's favourite novelist. Catherine looked at the photograph of the handsome red brick Georgian mansion taken from the famous herbaceous borders. With its long sweep of lawn and large sash windows, it was the quintessential English country house, and it was very easy to imagine a whole host of Jane Austen characters walking through its rooms and gardens. "And I will be too," Catherine said to herself. It was the third year she'd been invited to speak at the Jane Austen weekend, and rumour had it that the novelist, Lorna Warwick, was going to make an appearance too. Catherine bit her lip. Lorna Warwick was her favourite author, after Jane Austen, of course. She was a huge bestseller, famous for her risque Regency romances, of which she published one perfect book a year. Catherine had read them all from the very first, Marriage and Magic, to the latest, A Bride for Lord Burford, published a few months ago, and which Catherine had devoured in one evening at the expense of a pile of essays she should have been marking. She thought of the secret bookshelves in her study at home, and how they groaned deliciously under the weight of Miss Warwick's work. How her colleagues would frown and fret at such horrors as popular fiction. How quickly would she be marched from her Oxford office and escorted from St. Bridget's College if they knew of her wicked passion. Dr. Roberts, Professor Compton would say, his hairy eyebrows lowered over his beady eyes. "You really do surprise me." "Why, because I choose to read some novels purely for entertainment," Catherine would say to him, remembering Jane Austen's own defence of the pleasures of novels in Northanger Abbey. "Professor Compton, you really are a dreadful snob." But it couldn't be helped. Lorna Warwick's fiction was Catherine's secret vice, and if her stuffy colleagues ever found out, she would be banished from Oxford before you could say Sense and Sensibility. Okay, I'll stop it there. So it looks like it's going to be a good read. Both going to Purley Hall. Looking forward to reading this one. I'm glad I've taken it out of my archives on my Kindle. Have you read any of the Austen Addicts? What do you think about them? You're welcome to